How did you cope with Kathy being gone?
I didn't.
What's up, guys? Today we're talking about Bring Her Back, a horror drama from directors Danny and Michael Philippou. Bring Her Back tells the tale of Andy, played by Billy Barratt, and his visually impaired stepsister Piper, played by Sora Wong, coping with the aftermath of their father's death. They end up with a foster mother, Laura, played by Sally Hawkins, and it begins to become abundantly clear that she's into something strange, ritualistic, and almost certainly satanic. Before we go any further, I'm going to drop a spoiler warning, so now is your chance to pause this video, go watch Bring Her Back, and then come back and let me tell you how to feel about it. Let's get into it.
Probably to an unfair degree, Bring Her Back had a lot riding on its shoulders. This was on my highly anticipated list of horror for 2025, and luckily, I was able to catch it early via AMC's Scream Unseen mystery movie. It started with a brief introduction from the brother directors, where I think they disclosed a little too much about the movie, but they mentioned something that was key to my digestion of their film. It may be horror, but it's also a drama. Bring Her Back starts in a similar way to your usual A24 horror film. You get some chummy and quick character building with Andy and Piper, quickly establishing their dynamic. While Piper wants to be accepted, willing to refer to her stepbrother as a PDF while he kindly picks her up from the bus station, Andy makes it apparent that he will do anything to protect Piper from the realities of the world. The relationship is, at first, the seeming emotional core of the film. Then, they arrive home and find their dad has passed away in the shower. Andy is noticeably upset, Piper pleading for him to answer her as she tries to figure out what's happened. Quickly, it's established that Andy has a negative past and he's allowed to go with Piper to stay with their new foster mother under strict circumstances. What's frustrating about this introduction is that there's not much reason to bludgeon Piper and Andy with the death of their father. It feels unearned, like they were trying to do something akin to the exhaust pipe deaths from Midsommar. Though that is a much more effective intro, drawn out and deeply, deeply disturbing. This is the first moment of Bring Her Back I started to feel my confidence wane. But like a strange bat out of hell, we're introduced to this era's new psycho biddy, Paddington 2 star Sally Hawkins. She crops Andy out of their picture, dotes excessively on Piper, and oh yeah, has her deceased dog Pom Pom stuffed and taxidermied on full display in her living room. She's eclectic, odd, and has a certain violence in her emotions and reactions. She's spooky, and they discover too that her daughter has passed and was also blind, like Piper. Their arrival means something to her, as does Andy's noticing the white paint outlining the perimeter of her Witch in the Woods abode and the empty pool. But children set adrift can often get anchored to anyone willing to provide a semblance of charm, care, and motherhood. They are drawn into her spell, if only so Andy can outlast that fostership and take over as Piper's official guardian. But then, unbeknownst to us and the kids, there's an eerie, mute, bald child walking around in Laura's house. Ollie, or Oliver, terrifyingly played by Jonah Wren Phillips, has giant orb-like eyes that house an immense dread and pain. Something about his presence cuts into your heart deep. I couldn't help but laugh whenever he showed up on screen sometimes, seemingly at random moments in the movie, kind of like a goat or farm animal wandering around outside the empty pool or inside the house. The Philippous have an obsession with this kind of horror iconography, the gaslighting mother figure, the creepy child, and lots of satanic imagery. We find out that Laura has an obsession with the occult, and in perhaps the movie's best and most restrained sequences, we get grainy VHS footage of what appear to be tutorials on how to house loose spirits and then place them from one host into another. They set up all their pieces on the board, and they're established well. My central issue with the movie is how they choose to move and manipulate those pieces, which inevitably shapes the story. The movie looks and sounds great. This is no surprise. These directors know how to make things pop. They favor gross out body horror here to Talk to Me's demonic ghost story, though they do definitely seem like directors that have a penchant for the nasty. There are many scenes in here that will have people squirming in their seats. Not me so much, because once you've seen all the Terrifier movies a few times, you start to numb, for better or for worse. Piper and Andy like to use the word grapefruit, an endearing sibling language to help ground and find each other emotionally, but no one prepares you for what happens with a piece of melon in this movie. Teeth crunching, bone gnashing, wood churning, all of this movie sits at the seat of your stomach and inside your ear holes, and the Philippous beg for you to vomit and to look away. I was never bored watching the movie, that's for sure, and they have a knack for strong imagery. That fun, baiting energy seems to be part of their signature style. There will be many people who talk about some of the scenes in this movie for years to come. Sally Hawkins fucking brings it in this movie as the crazed and grief-stricken Laura. The script doesn't give her as much to do, but when she urges, or forces even, Andy to kiss his dead father's corpse on the lips in the middle of a visitation, well, you just gotta give it up to her. Ironic that she sleeps with the fishes in both this movie and, well, The Shape of Water. Guys, I have one good joke in me every video, and that joke right there, fucking gold. But But the real emotional core of the movie comes from Billy Barratt as Andy. His story is so layered and nuanced, and the gaslighting that Laura puts him through, along with the revelation of the abuse he faced at the hands of his father and how he wants to change that trajectory so he can have a good relationship with Piper. Sheesh, I mean, what a great character. It's sad that he just gets drowned after being hit by a car, though the sequence leading up to that with the social worker is so fun. So many fun visual misdirects that left my friend and I on the edge of our seats, but without any real closure for Andy's character. Sora Wong is captivating as Piper, doing just enough to cement her role, and the directors play well within the hearing sound dynamics of how a visually impaired person would react to the types of horror she's subjected to. Watching her scenes, I couldn't help but think of one of my favorite sections of the novel Red Dragon, where Francis Dollarhide invites a blind woman into his home after a date, proceeding to put on a tape of him unaliving a family while they make out. Chilling stuff. What the movie really nails, though, is its elaboration on the tired trope of grief horror. This is the first time watching one of these elevated horror branded movies that I left a little tired of the whole trauma grief angle. And honestly, it's tiring. Horror is already such a rich genre for subtext, social drama, and emotion that adding that, oh, how sad, my dad died angle is just, well, I'm starting to get bored of it. I was happy that the Philippous packed in a lot of references to the ways that people hang on to their dead loved ones and how poorly humans, especially people in the US, cope with death and grieving. It's either prop them up like scarecrows until they're on life support and then it's goodbye, packed in a box, and it's like they never existed. I initially was creeped out by Laura's inability to cope, but her willingness to carve through children in order to bring back her beloved daughter, also who drowned in their family pool, well, you kind of start to have a hard time hating her even after you see her go through Andy's phone and read his messages like a 12-year-old would. She's a mom who lost her daughter. That sentence is a nightmare just to read aloud. When they're in the funeral home for Piper and Andy's dad's funeral, she mentions that the soul of a person lingers in the body for 2 to 3 months after they die. There's something oddly beautiful about that. No matter how creepily funny it was to see poor Ollie's increasingly swollen and vein-stricken flesh vessel stumble around the empty pool, that was a living embodiment of grief. The cancer that can grow inside your body until you live through it and learn to let go and accept. There are script flourishes that add rich nuance to the character interactions in its many intense moments. Something I ponder a lot around movies like Bring Her Back and this entire elevated horror journey that A24 and studios like Neon have championed is that for movies like Hereditary, Longlegs, and even the recent Heretic, their concepts never live up to their execution. They drop a lot of smoking guns, too many in the script that don't get answered. I would have loved just one glimpse into the goings-on of the satanic cult that Laura got her tapes from, but it seems that just as the movie is about to get decidedly crazy, someone, maybe the directors, maybe a movie exec who tried to save the movie from NC-17 unrated hell, who knows, pulls the plug. For a movie that so desperately wants to be the most intense thing ever, when they finally get to the moment that should be that oh shit cathartic moment, it fizzles. This is disappointing because despite the flaws of their previous talk to me, at least that movie had a satisfying ending. Bring Her Back is chock full of frightening imagery, but it never really gets scary. Laura is such a frightening and confusing villain, but once the movie really gives into the audience's urge to see her get hurt and take a beating, I had to laugh when Piper decked her with a vase. She at the final hour realizes that what she's doing is wrong, which only takes Piper pleading with her as she drowns her, Ollie's swollen body off to the side, seemingly ready to unleash a tidal wave of Shining-style blood and satanic magic into the pool. Piper simply calls Laura Mom, and that cinches it. Ollie crawls off past the blessed white line, causing Laura's daughter's spirit to be expelled, and the cops find him alive. Laura seems to drown herself in the pool, holding her daughter's corpse. There's some kind of happy ending, but for the audience in a movie that is all about closure, why is that closure element missing? I mean, you kill off the main character that we've spent so much time with before the climax. I can't help but think it would have been better to drag him back inside and make Andy pay witness to Laura's ritual. There's something more horrific there, that she is further gaslighting and trapping him, forcing him to watch his stepsister's death and repossession and the birth of a frightening monster in Laura's reanimated daughter. At least, that's what I was really hoping to see, and the movie kept me on that balancing act from start to finish. Unfortunately, it went with a more cliche ending, but it really is a fun movie to watch unfold and darkly funny throughout. I still had a good time with it, and actually I want to see it again because Bring Her Back continues to prove one thing. The Philippou brothers can pack a serious gut punch, even if that gut punch sometimes hits off center.
In conclusion, Bring Her Back is a satisfyingly gross body horror tale of two siblings who fall prey to what is basically a fairy tale rendering of a witch throwing a couple of kids into her cauldron in order to bring back her deceased loved one. While not all of the ideas land squarely where I would like them to, it's still an effective portrayal of grief and the impact it takes on our lives. Sometimes grief simply looks like a gurney getting stuck in a door frame, workers rattling a corpse in the periphery as you sign papers and begin to plan the wake. Other times it looks like flailing out to anyone that might be willing to listen to you in a lonely world where pain persists. But to end on a brighter note, where there is pain, there must always be healing, and the Philippous know that. What they also know is that they have ruined eating melon for me entirely after this movie. For that, I'll never forgive them, but I'll still promptly be seated for their next feature. What did you think of Bring Her Back? Was it a teeth-gnashing good time, or was this satanic YouTube tutorial ritual thing just not for you? Leave all the comments below, and before you go, don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching this video and continuing to support the channel. Until next time, I'm really hungry. Does anybody have any wood that I can eat? Some mahogany, maybe a nice chunk of dinner table? I'm dying here.
Listen, I've got to tell you a secret.